So, welcome back to our fourth installment of the how-to videos on new Nexone agent and Repree. I'm going to log in right now. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to add a transaction to the new system. Now, when I say add a transaction, I'm not using the word in the same sense that we used it in Nexone, the old Nexone. In the old Nexone, we either added a listing or added a transaction. On this platform, when we refer to a transaction when we're on your home page, we're referring to something you're going to do with your client. You're either going to list their property, you either want to represent them as a buyer. Are you just putting in buyer documents? Are you representing a landlord or a tenant? Or is this just simply a referral? So that's what I mean by a transaction. It's not necessarily a completed transaction at this stage, but it's what we want to start to do for that particular client. I hope that's clear. So in this case, I'm going to start right at the beginning by adding the client. Because in most cases that's what you're going to start at. So I'm going to put Tommy Test, and he's going to be at 14 Gibbons, and his email is test12 His phone number is 905-409-8765. If I want to put his birth date in, I'm going to do that. And that's it. It's just Tommy I'm working with, so that's all I'm going to put in. I'm going to save him to my contacts. And now I've got Tommy's file prepared with all his contact information. I'm going to add a transaction. So in this case, I'm working with Tommy as a buyer. He's going to be buying a property with me. So I want to add a transaction to my file for Tommy. And we've actually found the property we're looking for. And it is 123 Rain Street. And I now have to classify, what is this transaction? Is it a listing? No, in this case, it's a buyer. But it could have been a tenant, could have been a referral. But in this case, Tommy Test is my buyer, and he's putting an offer in on 123 Rain Street. I'm going to classify what he is. He's an active buyer with me right now, and I'm going to save. I could have chosen Tommy Test, added a transaction, and represented him as a listing agent. So he's actually going to be selling 456 Storm Street. And I'm going to list it. So I've chosen listing. He's active, and I'm going to save it. So now I have a transaction for Tommy under 456 Storm Street. I can continue on with this. Say 3 years from now, Tommy calls me up, and 456 Storm Street, he wants to rent it out. So I'm going to represent him as a landlord. So I'm going to choose landlord, make it active, and save it. So now I have 123 Rain Street transaction that I represented Tommy as a buyer. Then I've got 456 Storm Street that I represented Tommy as a landlord. And finally, I have the same street that I represented when he sold the property. Actually, that doesn't make sense. I should actually modify Storm Street and make that one 123 ABC Street or Rain Street. 23 Rain Street. That makes more sense. So I am going to save that, close, and now we see that I'm representing Tommy as a landlord for Rain Street because he already bought it. Now he's going to rent it out. So that's what add a transaction is all about. It's about putting in what it is you're doing for that particular client. Am I representing the client as a seller? Or am I representing the client as a buyer? As a tenant, as a landlord, or is this a referral going out to somebody else? So those are your options, and that's how you save a transaction. Thanks for joining me, and the next one in this series will be number 5, and that'll be adding forms.